back at the game today, and I think it was, who's here from Hoops? Anybody here from Hoops? Right? Yes? Okay. So I was bored last night. I was coming back and I was reading some tweets, and he reminded about the Savannah State game, that we barely won a game, that we ended up going to the NCAA tournament that year. We barely won that game. We just beat UCLA and Duke, and we almost got beat by Savannah State, and it sent me into like a shock of what could happen today, and I almost willed it to happen. Western Michigan played great. Let's give them a lot of credit. Flowers is a tremendous, not good. He put 26 on Cincinnati. He put 31 on us. He's tremendous. He kept them in the game. Prenny did a wonderful job too of runaway shooting. We still held them below their average, and we did not. The first half was credit Western Michigan, but we really had a bad first half. And there were some points of the second half that weren't so good either, but in the most part, we shot better. We went to the foul line, made those better. But the first half is one of those things you just say, there's no sense in getting mad right now, right? You can't control what's happening out there. Our kids need composure. They have not been in this situation where this thing is, oh, you're supposed to be good, and the other team, you're just going to win easy. And then you get into these situations, and I thought we needed to get through something like that to get a W. I'm not talking about winning at Northwestern where it's another Big Ten game. I'm talking about when things aren't going well and you're about to get upset, you got to have some resiliency, and I love what we saw from our team today. Charles made big shots. Xavier made big shots. Charles went to the foul line. We haven't had to win the game from the foul line yet this year. So they foul us. We go 4 for 4 down the stretch when they foul us. So these are all things that really will help us as we continue to go forward.
Ethan, you want to start us off?
Yeah, John, that 10-0 run at the end of the first half, how did you see that shift momentum?
I think it was all part of our defense. They were turning over 16 times a game. I think, did they get 20 turnovers today? They had 16 again today, which is their norm, and we felt that we were just letting them, play too much. So we got in some gaps. It was all by our defense. There wasn't an offensive thing happening there other than fast break. But we needed that. We probably should have got 2 more with the missed dunk, but we did. That was a pivotal part in that game. Look at the score. Right, we go down 8 at half. We're sitting here. We're probably having a very different conversation right now if we were winning 8 at half, down 8 at half.
From Chris.
Let's talk about how big Xavier's threes were, and you said he had a good week shooting.
Yeah, he's been doing that. We ended practice yesterday. I drew up a play for him to hit a 3, and he did. Right, and it ended practice doing the same type of defense they were playing with him here. So he had great confidence, and that's something we're not going to give up on. Are we drawing up plays for him to shoot threes? Probably not. But when they're just sitting in the paint like they were today, he's got to shoot it in. Either that or we're playing 4-on-5. So that's big. So he's had 4 in one game, 3 in another game. Absolutely just shows what type of young man he is. He's terrific.
And then Iggy, just tired legs or bad game? Or?
I was talking with my team about that. Just did we practice too hard the last 2 days because they had 2 days off, or did we get out of shape? I do not know. So we'll try and sort that out because we did go pretty good for 2 hours both days, but he wasn't sharp today. That won't be anything. He'll be back and ready to roll. He's a terrific young man, a terrific freshman, and just one of those games.
Steve?
He wasn't alone. He wasn't the only one. John Teskey was much better than that. Isaiah Livers much better than that. And all 3 of those are important parts of our team.
John, you just touched on the guys who weren't sharp today, and Charles was. He had the kind of focus that you wanted coming into the game. Talk about what that says about him as a player and what it says about him.
What I like about it is the beginning when he did not shoot foul shots well, right? I think he might have been 1 for 5, and then even though he makes the first, he wasn't making the second. So he just stayed in there and stayed focused and kept fighting and fighting. This kid is so much about the team, and he showed that today. And that's really big for us that you have your most veteran player, right? 4th year in college, being there, because he was not good at the beginning, and down the stretch, we tried to get the ball in his hands as much as we could.
Down here with Larry.
How much of a challenge and opportunity is it with this football-like schedule playing once a week? For
you know what, Larry, that's a great question, because I always, when I was And there's been times I was envious of hockey and football. Hey, listen, you got a whole week to prepare every time. You get yourself into a rhythm. And what I've discovered this week is that's not a very comfortable rhythm for basketball players to play once a week. So I felt that we were that was hard, and like I tried to gauge it so we get rested, and then we go into a normal 2-day prep. You got to examine that and see if we did push the right buttons. But it's not as perfect. And now we got another one. Then we think we got an 8-day layoff. So, but other teams have it. Every college is taking exams that you got to do that.
On your far right with Alan.
Coach Alan Gino, Drivers.com, Bronco Blitz. I asked Hawk about the fact that we only had, Western only had 4 assists. And he talked about that extended defense that you play in the pressure, and that your defense took that away. Can you comment about your defense and if it's geared towards taking assists away?
Well, I think if you look at the good teams, they do not create opportunities where where you guard your man to man, and you're not giving a lot of help, and that's how you keep assists from happening. You might have a 2-man help, but not 5 guys pouring in the lane and giving threes. So it's you're basically trying to make sure people are taking tough twos as much as they can. And we could stop Flowers in that, that's for sure. Plus they shot 45%. But we played pretty good. We've been playing pretty good defense. That's 3 games in a row, though. We have not been pleased with our defense.
And over here with Aria.
John, back to Charles. He had a double-double today.
Yep.
So what did you see from him in terms of like being able to get opportunities when a lot of the other players weren't?
Well, I think he's never one that is going to turn down an opportunity to hunt. And he was hunting, and at times last year he'd hunt himself right into a charge or into a turnover. He's been doing a much better job with that. His turnovers are down. His assists aren't up, but his turnovers are down. And so he's really doing a great job. He did a great job tonight of fighting through defenders and find a way to get to the rim, either to get fouled, right? Put Davis. Davis is a really good player. He took him out of the game by getting him in foul trouble. That was a big part of this game.
Right in front with Zach.
John, with the missed layups, players struggling,
Yeah.
do you sense frustration from your players in this game?
Oh, this was why we needed this. We needed to have adversity in the game to realize you got to fight through those things. You can't hang your head. You got to be positive during that time. So we had some unique things happen in that game that there certainly isn't. You're not going to win games in the Big Ten if you play like that. And so we got to understand, but you still got to play on and play through it, and that's what was important. Yeah, no, anybody gets frustrated when you miss a layup. You know, you draw a play and we get it beautiful for you, and you miss that shot, right? Nobody likes that. Or just there was. I think when we both knocked each other out of bounds on that first rebound, it was a precursor to what we could expect today. And I don't think I've ever seen that happen where 2 guys knocked each other out of bounds while they fought over the ball. So that was a little bit the way the game went. But credit Western Michigan. Steve Hawkins, a great coach. They just played a tremendous defense on us, I thought. And then offensively, he said, did just enough there. And when you have a point guard that get 31 on it, it reminded me of the New Jersey Tech game, where their guards just, no matter what we did, they were making shots. He was terrific.
Stay there with Andrew.
Coach, when you have guys that can score 20 points, but then the same players might only score 4
Yeah.
the next, is that comforting, or is it?
Yeah, I think that it's good. I think if you don't have we had guys who have had 20, right, and now weren't close to it, and now they could be the guy next time. I think if you have a good team when you have several guys that are scoring options, and I think we really, as far as getting their own shot, right, or making plays to get a shot, right, 1 through 4 we can do that. John's sort of looking for other opportunities, but 1 through 4 can do that, and that helps. But you can't. It's hard to dial up 4 guys, and when we feel we got a matchup or we got a guy hot, we dial him up more. But Iggy at the same time, who wasn't having his best game, he made 2 huge drives against Western Michigan. Plays really good Big Ten type of defense. He had a score over a strong chest. He did it twice.
Right in the middle with Bailey.
John, y'all had 20 points off turnovers today. How did you capitalize on Western's turnovers?
Well, if you get them to turn over, you don't have to face that stingy defense. And so that was key, that we could just get these run-outs and get baskets. So that's the thing. We're trying to emphasize more deflections. We had 10 deflections in the first half. We had 10. We got 10 points out of those deflections. So we gotta touch the ball better, and not let people, just get to their sweet spots, because anything there is going the other way.
You have time for a few more, James?
John O'Keefe, Austin Dixon's first time.
Yeah, just for him to get in there, and I really go into this game, Brandon Austin, both of them had been about the same in practice. But seeing the size of Seth Dugan, that was a better matchup for us today. Had it been a smaller center that was giving us issues, it probably would have been Brandon that we would have went in with.
And then sealing the game with the line, I know last season
Yeah.
that would have snowballed the town.
Yeah, I was worried about that, and Charles just put those right in, and then Jordan as well. So we haven't. That's always scary when you haven't had those opportunities. Normally in game 11, you've had 3 or 4 or 5 of those opportunities. That was the first one. Because obviously the Northwestern game, nobody was fouling. It was tied down the stretch. So that was big for Charles to get to the line. In fact, I was drawing up the play to get Jordan Poole the last shot, or the foul, if they were going to foul us. And I was trying to say, well, do I want Charles to get the ball on this? Should he be the second option? Because I was ready to make Iggy the second option. And then I realized Iggy was 0 for 3, and Charles had just made 5 out of 6 or something. Make Charles the second option. We didn't throw it to him, but I had that type of trust in him.
Coach, you mentioned Josh Davis earlier. How important was it for you guys to get him into foul trouble? He only played 20 minutes today.
Yeah, I had a lot of respect for him. Just he made 40-some threes last year. Anytime you got a senior, and you're playing against a senior, he's been there and he's there for the right reasons. He's a real team guy, that is stuck in there through thick and thin, and he's learned a lot. Especially in the days where people transfer like crazy. So he's a good defender, and he could shoot threes too. So one more guy out there that could shoot threes besides Prinny, right, and the point guard, that could have given us trouble. Flowers.
Coach, that's going to do it.
All right, thanks.